And we're rolling.
How you doing? Another impromptu unboxing. We got the second piece to the puzzle, which is the motherboard, which is cool because now my big empty case can start to look like a computer. So what I got was kind of a middle-of-the-road gaming motherboard. It's full-size ATX to fit our Roseville Blackhawk case. It's the Z87-G43 by MSI. Let's look at the box. That is a box. I gotta just tease the other unboxers because I always think it's retarded when they look at the box if they're just going to show the product inside anyways. But actually one of the things that is cool is that it has the class 4 military grade capacitors, and I'm not sure what on the board, what everything is considered class 4 military standards. But what that really means is just that it has extra protection against shock, against high temperatures, humidity, and EMI, electromagnetic interference. But I have a feeling that if, NSA blaster computer with an EMP, it's toast no matter what you do. So, anyways, so there's that. You've got the 3 different display outputs. You've got Pci Express 3rd gen, which is its X16 3.0, which is just, it's a broader bandwidth for your video card, which is just, faster. Faster is better. The Click BIOS is a pretty interesting thing, and I wasn't sure that this board had it. But what that is sometimes when you go to boot into the BIOS, and it goes by and you go, and it's gone, and your chance to boot up to the BIOS is gone, which, by the way, this doesn't have BIOS. It has the fancier thing with the better graphic interface. What's that called?
Fi or something. I don't know.
It's retarded. It doesn't, you know what? It's BIOS, because no one's ever going to call it that other thing. They're going to call it BIOS. But what that means is that you can press that button, and the next boot up will automatically boot to your BIOS, so you don't have to worry about. Well, of course, you have to open your case up to do that and everything. But anyways, in the Super RAID, which is just the really fast hard drive data transfer, basically, again, this is all because of the Northbridge Z87 chipset, which supports all this wonderful stuff. Let's get this thing open because I've been waiting for it. There it is.
We got a couple component parts in here, by the way.
We'll take a look at them in a second. So the reason why I got this board was because I didn't want to pay closer to the $200 price point for the gaming one that has all the fancy dragons. There's a version of this board, the G43, that has a few extra other things. It's got a lathe work little dragon, and the heat sinks over the capacitors are all look like dragons. It's a cool board, but this one was, $80 cheaper, essentially. But it has the one thing that the G41 does not have, which is over the Northbridge chipset, the all-important Z87 chipset. It has a nice aluminum heat sink, and also over the capacitor banks around the CPU has these nice big aluminum heat sinks as well. So that's excellent. The intended CPU for this board is going to be the Haswell 4770. This board supports the 4th gen i7 Intel processors, the Haswell processors. It's a quad core, the one that we're getting, and it's what we're looking for. Here's your 3.0 USB, and then you also have, or thought you right there, okay, the USB 3.0 on the back. Even though you have essentially 2 in the back and then 1 here, this only has support for 2, just so you know. Because there's your monitor connection, tons and tons of USB 2. By the way, this board, and you're going to hear this talk a lot more as the technology becomes more available and cheaper, the board supports 4K, which is, your eyes can't tell the difference between 4K resolution, that is, 4,000 lines of resolution. This board will support it. And you're going to see a lot more of that in the near future.
You got your dummy manuals here.
Here's your drivers. A big manual that I will probably never read too much.
Plate covers and
Make sure you install this first. That's your plate cover for the motherboard, or for the case, that is.
I/O.
Sata cables. We have 2 of them, which is the bare minimum needed. One for your hard drive and one for your disk drive if you choose to use one, or possibly an SSD and a hard drive, but our computer will have a disk drive. Board supports 32 gig of memory, which is very nice. It is 240 pin DDR3 RAM, and it will support up to 32 gig of RAM, and it will overclock at 3,000 whatever. I've never heard a designation to that number. It's just, this one's 3,000. So anyhow, yeah.
What, 3,000?
It's supposed, the board also has 1 second overclocking. The computer, when it's finished, will support everything that I want to do with it without overclocking. Overclocking just puts more stress on your components, but it will be a cool case, just in case I do want to overclock. You have your Pci Express, your 3.0 Pci Express, and this one runs, by the way, the board, this runs 16x, but it's only at it's the 2.0, which is, yeah, when I read the statistics, it was different. It was 8x, but it supports both Crossfire and LSI, right?
SLI.
SLI. Your SATA connections over here. Actually, oh, there's the others. Okay, 6 SATA. Yeah, that's about it. About everything that's interesting anyways. So I hope you enjoyed this commercial for MSI, because that's what unboxings are, unfortunately. Yeah, if you have any questions or comments about the board, about how it fits in the Roseville Blackhawk case,
Next time.
when we start putting the computer together, we're going to talk a lot more about that. They're not issues with the case, but they are some considerations to think about as stuff starts to go in it. And when we start doing the build, we'll go over all that. So yeah, just leave a comment or tell me what you think. Ask me about the board, because as I discover things, and you may want to know more about it too. That's it.